So here's a story. It's true. I remember this clearly, even though it was 15 years ago. I had arrived home from work one evening and was greeted at the door by my children. My oldest daughter, who was in second grade at the time, was eager to tell me about her day in school. "We learned about the 3 branches of government today," she informed me. The 3 branches of government, I thought. Now this didn't surprise me, though I did feel somewhat disappointed. I was disappointed because I had a sense that having her learn about the 3 branches of government really wasn't for her benefit. Why was I not surprised? Well, to my dismay, I had previously observed my own student teachers teaching first grade children about the 3 branches of government. Why, you might wonder, would a teacher be expected to teach the 3 branches of government to second grade students, let alone first grade students? Well, teachers were expected to teach this content to second grade students because these children would be tested in third grade about the 3 branches of government. To perform well on the test in third grade, why not begin the preparation in first grade? "Here is our worksheet," my daughter said, as she pulled the worksheet out of her backpack. Sure enough, lovely dictionary-type definitions of the 3 branches of government in her own third grade printing. I held up the worksheet and looked at it carefully. "What are the branches?" I asked. Without hesitation, she started spouting off the 3 branches, matching word for word the definitions she had printed on the worksheet. "The legislative branch has the authority to make laws for the nation. The judicial branch is empowered with judicial powers," etc. I knew my daughter well enough to know that she didn't understand what she was saying. She didn't understand the vocabulary she was using. But I asked her what these terms meant anyway. And as I suspected, she didn't understand what the words legislative, judicial, executive, etc. meant. "What does legislative mean?" I asked. My question was met with a shrug. "What does legal mean?" No response. "What are laws? What does government mean? What is a government?" Not much more than a blank stare. "What do branches mean?" I probed, hoping for some glimmer of understanding. "You know, Dad, like branches on a tree." I continued. "Do you mean groups of people when you talk about an assembly? Is that what you mean when you're talking about branches?" "No," she responded. "You know what a branch is, Dad." Then I had to ask, "And why are you learning this? Why is it important for you to know about the 3 branches of government?" Maybe her answer will surprise you, maybe it won't. Can you guess what she said? Well, she responded, "The test is on Wednesday, so we have to know it by then." I don't know. What do you say to that? You want your child to love learning and to be excited about school, and already by third grade, she has the perception that what she is doing is for the sake of the test. When we think of all the great things that schools should be about and the possibilities schools can offer, this emphasis on memorizing and testing diminishes those efforts. It saddens me. It saddens me for students. It saddens me for teachers. It saddens me for you if you are ever made to feel that what you are doing is for the sake of a test. I suppose my daughter was one of the lucky ones. She memorized things easily. She did well on Wednesday's test, as she seemed to do on most tests. I should mention, though, 2 months later, she didn't recall the branches of government. All of those memorized statements vanished into thin air. Did she learn anything, you might wonder? Interestingly, in a sad sort of way, she did remember something. Can you guess what it was? She remembered that tests were on Wednesday. We are aware that this happens. Teachers, professors, students will tell you that material is memorized for a test, only to be quickly forgotten. We talk about the theory of learning, but seldom talk about the theory of forgetting. We can help students memorize something, and the learning curve can be steep. It goes up like this. But is it learning? It might appear so when we don't talk about the forgetting curve. And forgetting happens just about as fast, and the curve is just as steep as the learning curve, just in the opposite direction. My daughter didn't understand the 3 branches of government. She didn't understand all of those statements that she memorized. And the many children in grades 1, 2, and 3 memorizing statements about the 3 branches of government, filling out worksheets so that they could pass a test, didn't understand what they were presumably learning and doing either. And I know this to be true. Many adults don't understand as much as one might hope about the 3 branches of government. And of course, there are many examples of students not seeming to understand what they are doing. Some examples are obvious, some not so obvious. The piano student who is technically proficient but would be incapable of telling you much about the music. The math student who will do very well on timed math drills but would be incapable of explaining how one would go about representing groups of objects using a different number base, or explaining what is going on when one fraction is multiplied by another, or the value and purpose of ratios. Why do we do this? Worse, why do we allow this to happen when we know it may not be the best model to follow? Why?